Fashion content is far too easy to consume, and it's led to an epidemic of poorly dressed people. Social media has led fashion to be defined by its aesthetic value. We are provided with content that's accessible and comprehensible, which is great for when you're half watching Netflix and half fingering TikTok, but the prioritization of ease comes at the expense of any real meaning. This is why we feel an unease towards outfits we see on social media. There's a dissonance between the outfit being almost objectively aesthetic, yet void of any personality. Our short attention span makes us vulnerable to accepting that fashion is purely aesthetic, which is why when you're first learning fashion, you end up looking quite stupid without really realizing.
Oh. Ah. That's it, I'm not going.
The online rhetoric is that you're born with the source. However, that would make me redundant in this space as your educational podcast creator, director, owner, and host. So allow me to reframe the discussion by suggesting that you too may one day be as fashionable as me. For any learning process, whether it be fashion or otherwise, you will follow a certain trajectory. In 1999, Dunning-Kruger published a study suggesting that incompetent individuals lack the skill to recognise their own mistakes. This lack of skill prevents them from realising how little they actually understand, and as a result, they are overly confident, whilst individuals with a high ability will underestimate their expertise under the pretense that what is accessible to them is similarly accessible to others. Graphically represented, this would appear as such. Before we begin our analysis, I would like to highlight that there are a group of people not mentioned in this trajectory. For any given subject, there will be two groups of people: the people that do care and the people that don't care. The people that don't care are off to the left somewhere of this diagram, and these are not the people we are addressing in this situation. It is not a bad outfit if the wearer isn't even perceiving it. Fashion is a superfluous area of interest, and as such we cannot criticise an individual for lacking competence where they have neither the aspiration nor the intention to be proficient in it. In saying this, if you are watching this video, you probably exist in the do care group. Or you are a parasocial relationship participant. Those of you that do care, you exist somewhere along this trajectory. My lovely beginners, you exist here. At this point, our outfit still reflects our do not care attitude towards fashion. We are yet to act on our intention to dress better. Here you may want to delve into the philosophical question, where does a decision begin, the intention or the action? But for the purpose of this current narrative, let's suggest that you have the intention to dress better, but you are yet to act on anything, and as such, to an onlooker, you currently appear visually identical to yourself with the do not care philosophy. With our newfound do care philosophy, we'll watch a couple of TikToks, make a new Pinterest board, order a cropped t-shirt, baggy jeans and loafers off of ASOS, looking down upon the bros still wearing skinny jeans. Here you believe you know everything that there is to know about fashion. According to the 4 stages of competence model, you are in a psychological state of unconscious incompetence. Essentially, you do not know what you do not know. You do not yet understand that dressed like this, you are also this. You believe you know a lot because you don't yet see the complexity. Real learning can only begin once you realise your ignorance. Once you come to this realisation, you are in a state of conscious incompetence. As you dedicate more time to understanding fashion, you encounter nuance and difficulty. As a consequence, your confidence drops. But fear not, young warrior. Perseverance will pay off when you acquire the metacognition, allowing you to realise not only what you know, but also what you don't know. Every fashion icon must have humility. As you persevere, it all starts to make sense, but it takes concentration. You are consciously competent. You learn to respect the craft, appreciate it for its complexity, and honour your struggle. It is only once you pass through these stages can you become the fashion icon you once dreamt of being. And as a fashion icon, with the experience of climbing this hierarchy of competence, dressing yourself is intuitive. With the humility you've learnt along the way, you say no more to your baggy jean wearing key swingers than trust me bro, it's complicated. Using this theory, I would like to present to you my own hypothesis, the Dunning-Kruger-Callaghan effect, DIC for short. This is a representation specifically tailored to the learning process involved in dressing well. On our y-axis we have execution, and on our x-axis we have experience. Here, execution is the measure of how well an individual is dressed. And this is not just from an aesthetic point of view, this is from the all-encompassing sensory embodiment of an outfit. And then where we have experience, we are measuring our depth of interaction with fashion. With little experience, our perception of fashion is superficial, but with great experience our ideas are nuanced and complex. At the start of our fashion journey we are here, a neutral position where our outfit accurately reflects our level of understanding of fashion. As we begin to embark and gain experience, what we find is a negative effect on our execution. This is for the reason that I outlined in the beginning of this video. Fashion content is far too easy to consume. The level of expertise in the fashion domain is too often determined by the number of TikTok followers an individual has. This is understandable and is the reason why with little experience you may believe this this to be true. Follower count can act as a cue for authority. In fashion, where taste is hard to measure objectively, follower count suggests proof that the opinions of the individual are credible. This is particularly true more so in fashion than in other domains, because fashion is socially constructed. Trends gain legitimacy as more people adopt them. Thus, follower count directly feeds into our perception of authority. Not only this, but individuals with a higher number of followers are shown to you more often. With little understanding of fashion, you are performing like an algorithm, leading you to dress like the algorithm.
I love the fit of it and how it's a little bit cropped, just exactly what I want in a white tank. I love it.
The TikTok algorithm regards engagement as a measure of how interesting any particular video is. Influencers with a high number of followers will have greater engagement because their videos are being shown to a wider audience. The greater engagement is a signal of viewer interest, and the algorithm rewards this behaviour. So when you are just starting fashion, the most accessible content to you is the content created by influencers with large audiences. And if we assume that the influencer is good at their job, we can conclude that this is the reason why we all look the same. And the reason this leads to a poorly executed outfit is because it lacks any emotion. This is the reason we are able to predict your coffee order, consumerist habits, and your music taste. None of it is derived from the individual. It is a symptom of the algorithm. And with nothing to falsify our hypothesis that baggy jean wearing crop top key swingers are being performative, either to attract women or to appear as fashionable. This is all we can assume. We assume the outfit is a reflection of what they want us to believe, not what they actually believe themselves. So despite this being an aesthetically good outfit, it is in fact a sign that these people are part of a group that we don't believe have the values of a fashionable person, so we simply cannot see it as a fashionable outfit. Just like having the source is, although rather indescribable, we know it to be more than just the visual appearance of an outfit. Not having the source is similar. It is not necessarily a visual unease, but an emotional one. And so when we are evaluating the encompassing execution of an outfit, we simply cannot regard this as a positive execution. But let me just refer you back to the original Dunning-Kruger effect. The statistically able-minded of you will recognise that the Dick effect is essentially this. So let's further analyse the Dunning-Kruger effect by applying some simple mathematics. Here I have superimposed the line y equals x. This line serves as a boundary between what we would consider overconfidence, where y is greater than x, and humility, where y is less than x. The point at which the Dunning-Kruger trajectory crosses y equals x is where we would consider our confidence to equal our competence. This is also reflected in the Dick effect. Where our execution is negative, this reflects overconfidence, and where our execution is positive, this reflects humility. So it stands to reason that only once you realise maybe this is harder than I thought, and respect the skill of the trade, can you execute a good outfit. Here is a matchup of the Dunning-Kruger effect and the Dick effect for reference. You can see that where confidence stops being greater than your competence, your execution becomes a net positive. I believe that below baseline execution, where 0 is the execution applied to yourself with a do not care philosophy, is a trendy outfit, and above is fashionable. This is your trendy phase, this is your fashionable phase. Then if we look at the direction of our line, where the gradient is positive, this is our experimental phase. The plateau at the end, where there is maximum execution, this is what we colloquially know to be the source. You cannot learn to swim by watching a YouTube video. You have to, heaven forbid, get in the water. Practice makes perfect. Perseverance builds character. I cannot tell you what your own source tastes like, but I can tell you that you have to earn it. That is why only some people have it, not because they are the lucky ones that are born with it, but because they took the time to learn it. So that is everything we have for today. I really hope you enjoyed that video. I've loved being here, as always. Do stay tuned for future videos, because I will go on to explain how to actually put this theory into practice and how to actually create a good outfit, if that is what you want. How to actually portray a positively executed outfit. Do stay tuned. I will see you very incredibly soon.
Oh. Ah. That's it, I'm not going.